have symptoms of thyroid problems, but they claim that the blood work looks fine, that they go to see the PCP, the doctor, and everything else is, they run blood work and everything else is good, but they still struggle with symptoms. So what you need to know is blood work does not identify about 50% of people who have thyroid problems. So they are able, with blood work, to identify people who have like chronic thyroid problems. When it's subclinical, they cannot really see or identify those people. So that's why a lot of people come to us and they have thyroid problems, even though they are good in the blood work. And on top of that, they only look at typically the TSH, just simple single hormone, and they believe that if the TSH is within the range, you're fine. But they never look at the whole thyroid panel. So there's many symptoms, hormones, and different things you need to look at to make sure your thyroid is working properly. You have to look at your adrenals health, your liver health, your spleen, deficiencies, your gut, and so on and so on. So that's why most people who have thyroid problems are not being identified as thyroid patients. Specifically today, I wanted to cover iodine, because we all know that iodine is really important for your thyroid. Most people don't realize there's different types of iodine. If you take the wrong type, or if you don't take iodine at the right time, you might have problems. Like, for example, we know that people with Hashimoto's, which is a autoimmune condition affecting your thyroid, you can actually aggravate your thyroid condition. So there's a time to take iodine, and there's different types. So you need to make sure that you do the right thing. Otherwise, it can worsen your thyroid or your body. So iodine, of course, it's really important for your thyroid health. We all know this, but we don't know that iodine is really important for other parts of the body. For example, the skin is the second organ that needs the most iodine after your thyroid. Your brain needs iodine to function. People dealing with depression, fog, neurological issues, they may actually have some iodine deficiency. And it's also important for the bladder and the prostate for guys. So guys who have prostate problem or those issues affecting the prostate, it can be simply a lack of iodine. So the prostate requires a lot of iodine to function. So if you have enlarged prostate, it may be because of a deficiency of iodine. Same thing if you have an enlarged thyroid. Most of the time, this can be reversed by adding good iodine to your diet. So enlarged thyroid typically is a lack of iodine. And finally, the bladder is really important. It's another organ that needs a lot of iodine. I just saw a patient that she was suffering from incontinence for years and years and years, and nobody could figure out what's going on with her. It was simply that the bladder was needing iodine. So the muscle of the bladder got weaker over time because of iodine deficiency. So as you add iodine back to the diet or give her some supplements, iodine supplements, the muscle gets stronger and incontinence goes away. So that's an issue that I see fairly regularly, especially in women of 50 and above. They usually have iodine deficiencies, and they have incontinence because of it. So that's one factor to look at if you have bladder issues. That's maybe iodine problems. When it comes to the bladder, again, some people have recurrent UTIs in the bladder, so some bacterial infection like yeast infection, and that's oftentimes too a lack of iodine in the bladder. Not just in the bladder, but in the body, because iodine is so important for the immune system. So if you don't have enough iodine, your immune system is suppressed, which increase your risk of having infection like UTIs. So if you have all these issues concerning the prostate, the bladder, or the uterus, as a matter of fact, for some yeast infections, it could be simply lack of iodine. So it's really important that you eat foods with iodine. As we all know that the best foods are seafoods, fish. that have quite a bit of iodine. Eggs also have some iodine. Kelp, all the seaweeds, everything coming from the sea has a lot of iodine. So it's important to incorporate these foods into your diet a few times a week. And of course, having a good quality salt. What I mean by good quality salt is it has to be unrefined. Like the pink salt has some iodine, but the best salt for iodine is what we call Celtic or Celtic sea salt. So it's a salt from Europe that has a grayish color to it. It's gray because it's non-refined. So when it's refined, typically they remove components to the salt and it becomes white. So if your sea salt is white, most likely it's refined. So I would be really suspicious if you use white salt. And most likely those salt don't have iodine at all, or sometimes they add it back to the salt, which is a fake, a synthetic iodine that can lead to problems actually. So salt is really important. You need a good 2 or 3 grams of salt a day, which is more about a half of a teaspoon up to a teaspoon of salt a day. Especially when it's hot during the summer. If you sweat, so you lose electrolyte, you lose salt. So it's important to replenish your electrolytes with good quality salt, and that brings good iodine. Not just iodine, but good sea salt has about 80 different minerals. So it's really important to make sure your salt is good, and it's a good way to get minerals in the diet. I hope it makes sense. Tonight, I'm having a workshop on thyroid health at the office, so you're welcome to attend at 6 o'clock. We're going to get deeper into thyroid and what we need to do to reverse thyroid conditions, because it's pandemic and the most women that I see have some level of thyroid hormone, and we need to address this to make sure that you're healthy. So if you have any questions, please let me know. You can drop your comment below and I will get back to you. Thank you.